You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How you doing?
Fantastic. Fantastic. I hope you have a good day.
Hope you have a better week.
I hope your month is full of successful days and a lot of great ventures. I hope you just come up, brother.
I hope your whole fucking year is spectacular.
Oh, you hope my year is spectacular?
Yeah.
You got something you want to say to me?
You got something you want to say?
Finish it off as I always do with the riddle for next episode. So if I pose the question, you had
Chi-town, Southside, worldwide, cause I rep that till I
describe your favorite album, what would they be? Now,
and I heard them say, nothing's ever promised tomorrow today. And I heard them say,
maybe it's an R&B album, maybe it's a rock album, but
you can't tell me nothing.
If you don't come in after listening to your favorite album,
Everybody
like,
know
I'm a motherfucking monster.
you know what? If you tell me about your album,
Really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish.
but I'm gonna tell you all the reasons why you're wrong, and see you on the next episode. Ryan, Christina, Bill, Dom J, and Richard. We are. What up, family? It's your boy Amaru, and we are back for another episode of One Gotta Stay. I am Sans Hoodie. I had to rush home from work, couldn't even change, had to set this up, but I am psyched to have this crew with me here today to argue one of the most argued about positions that we've had in the last decade since the 2000s. And I got a crew who I know can argue. Whether or not some of them will go full force, I don't know because they at work. But we'll find out. We will find out. As you saw in the video, we are going to be talking about which album out of Kanye's best 4 albums, because yes, these are his best 4 albums, between My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Graduation, Late Registration, and College Dropout. Which one of these will stay? And introducing first, back for the second episode in a row, it's Mr. himself.
Hey, gang, bro.
Dom is back. He told me last episode he had to be here for this one, so I brought him back. How you doing, fam? Good to see you again.
Damo season is back again.
Let's go.
First off, Ru ain't got the answers. That's the first thing I'm gonna say. Ru ain't never had the answer.
Okay. We'll see how that works today. We'll see how that works today.
We're gonna see.
Right next to him, my man's from Spin from the Reel, one of the dopest individuals I've had the pleasure of getting to know within the last couple of months. I told him about the show, and he said, "You give me Kanye anything, I'm on." So I said, "Oh, you just wait." He waited, and now he's here. Mr. Chris Anthony Lopez. Chris, how you doing, fam? You ready for this?
Yo, I'm good. I didn't expect to be on so soon. I thought we had this conversation like 2 weeks ago. But, you know, we're out here rocking. I'm excited to come talk about my favorite artists of all time. And them top four albums, kind of undisputable. And it's some real shit. But honorable mention to 808s and Heartbreak. I do love the album, too. Really all of them. I love all of them.
Maybe not all of them, but I'll go with you later.
Maybe not the last one. But all the ones before that, they're really, really good.
Yeah. All right. Next to him, Mr. Aaron. Aaron hit me up, was like, "Ooh, this is nice." I was like, "Well, you should be on," and he's on.
I'm here. Thank you. I'm excited to finally be on the show. This is. I don't get to talk music often, so this is a really great topic to be here for. Now I'm confused. I thought the point of the show was I was brought here to argue why Life of Pablo should be included. But is that not the point? No. I'm kidding.
Okay, so next to him after that
Good job.
is my boy. I have known him for a very long time. We agree on a lot of things, and we disagree on a whole lot of things. But it's my boy nonetheless. His I won't put his government name out there. He can do it himself. It's Mr. Easy. Rubalcaba. I'll give you the last name. How you doing, fam?
Yes, sir. How you doing, my brother? I'm good. I'm out here, at work. But we got to talk about one of my favorite artists of all time. So we out here. You can say some shit y'all probably ain't gonna like, but I really don't care. So let's get it going.
Word.
Hey fam, if your arguments are as tight as that shirt you got on, you should be fine. You should be all good. And last but not least, the man just serendipity. He posted about 2 of these albums, and I was like, well, you know what we're doing on Monday? We doing something. And he was like, yo, let me on. So the cover himself, Mr. Chance Ellison. Chance,
how you doing?
I'm so happy to have you on today. How you feeling? Are you ready for this?
I'm good. Yeah, I don't get to talk about music very often, so this is a nice departure for me. And yeah, what better way to talk about the guy who was one of the most celebrated artists 2000s, becoming one of the most maligned of 2010s. So yeah, I'm ready to talk about Kanye. And yes, I also love 800 Days and Heartbreak. It's a great album.
That's what's up.
All right. So we are going to start off with our number 4s. What is the first to go? I will say every single email I got, or at least 5 of them, all of them had some variation of why are we doing this? This is the hardest decision I've had in a long time. Thank you for putting me through this turmoil. So the first person that has to go through it is Aaron. Aaron, what is your number 4?
All right. So to kind of preface, I listened through all the albums before I made my decision, and then I had a lot of free time today, so I listened through most of the albums again just to be sure. And the more I listened through it, the more I felt confident about this decision. My number 4 is Graduation. I can already see from the reactions. Please go ahead, fetch out at me.
No, I agree.
Go ahead. Why Graduation number 4?
So obviously, and I said this to Amaru in the email, for me, it's my number 1 was my number 1, and I knew that instantly, and the rest, it's really like 2A, 2B, 2C. The reason for me that Graduation is number 4 is because there are a number of songs that I like on this album, but there's only 2 songs off this album that I really and truly love, that being Stronger and Big Brother. The rest of the album is good for the most part, but it's the most inconsistent for me of these 4. It's the one that doesn't quite hit the most for me. And again, with the exception of Stronger, which is a song I really do love, and Big Brother, it's the one I would listen to the least. And so for that reason, just when I'm sitting there looking at, 2, 3, and 4, if it's the one that I have the least amount of songs that I just quite simply love, like endlessly on all the playlists, then that is for me, the basis of what goes last.
What I don't understand is how the 2 songs you picked might be the 2 weakest songs on the album to me.
That's fair. That's fair.
Wait, which ones did he pick again? I can't remember.
Stronger and
Big Brother.
What the?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot of time.
Maybe one of the weakest, but it ain't. But it ain't my number 4. Does anybody else have Graduation as number 4?
I do.
Dom, why do you have Graduation as number 4?
Basically for the same reason he said, but I think I remember I was actually in college at the time when this one was coming out, and I remember him and 50 Cent had like a battle where they could see whoever was supposed to sell the most albums when both, because they both were dropping at the same time, and they had like a contest, and I just remember 50 Cent lost, and he was supposed to retire, and that didn't happen. But whatever. But to me, Graduation, it was good. It was great at the time. I think it kind of aged a little bad, but I mean not really. But if I had to pick one, just one album, it would be this one as my number 4, because all the other ones are just so great.
The one thing I will say
they just get better and better.
Go ahead, please.
No, go ahead.
No, the one thing I'll say, because I disagree, but I agree with Aaron's take on it's 2A, B, and C. That's the one thing you said that I really, really liked, and that's the one thing I agree with you on.
Yeah, if I said one thing, I will take it.
That is literally it.
Like it was really difficult, and that's rough. And really, you can view these as A or 1A, 1B, 1C. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But like it's. Damn, Big Brother and Stronger are your 2 takeaways. Like that's definitely not
Stronger. I understand, but Big Brother of all tracks, Big
right? I don't know.
Right. It's not mine.
Big Brother is probably one outside of I can even listen to Drunken Hot Girls again, Anytime Big Brother comes on, I'm like, I'm sorry.
I
man.
like that song.
I'm sorry.
I like Drinking Hot Girl.
I like Drinking Hot Girls is at least funny.
That song's hilarious.
And Easy knows my thoughts on Wayne. Barry Bonds, I don't listen to ever, so I don't care about that.
No.
But anyway,
I never did. I never listened.
No, we're gonna move on to the next person up, and my man E. What do you have as your number 4?
Well, my number 4 is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. And
What?
It was
Holy shit!
It was kind of one of those. It was kind of one of those like in between that and Graduation, but only because when I listen to an album, I listen to an album as far as if I can listen to it all the way through, and the album's replay value. And like Graduation and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, they both only had like 4 or 5 really like mainstream commercial songs, so they could went back and forth. So I went with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. So there just wasn't really, outside of the 4 mainstream tracks that they had, it wasn't really much for me to go back and listen to. It was and people like to make the argument because it's one of the more recent ones. All right, that's cool or whatever. But because I started off listening to Kanye with, his debut album, it just wasn't started getting weird, and wasn't my thing, not at all. So that one gotta go.
I got one thing to say to you, sir, based off that pick.
Message.
Because that was my easy number 4 as well. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is number 4.
Are you fucking what?
Oh my God. That is a message.
What did I just agree to do? What show am I on right now? What the hell is this?
What's going on?
I might need to drop out of the show. I just no.
I completely 100% agree with Easy there. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is an amazing album. Probably can be argued as one of the best, like top 20, top 25 rap albums ever. The problem is I don't listen to that shit. I stopped listening to it.
I just listened to it again. Just to gear up. Because it's so good.
Hell of a Life. Hell of a Life is replay value is great. I can listen to Run. Monster is the one song.
Runaway.
It is the one song that I'm like, run it back.
Gorgeous. Blame Game.
You gotta be in the mood for that. Like,
yeah, right.
You gotta be in the mood.
You gotta be in the mood to listen to it.
You said Hell of a Life's the one you revisit?
All the Light?
The nastiest song in the damn album.
That's the intro.
Anywhere else.
The build up.
If you were not in Chicago, this shit was not playing anywhere else. So other than the 4 mainstream tracks, there wasn't getting played.
I will say All of the Lights actually is probably one of the best hip hop, can be argued as one of the best hip hop songs ever, and that is also replay value. My only thing is I can think of at least I'll say at least from my number 1 down pat. I think All of the Lights is brilliant. I think a song on my number 1 is more brilliant. That's why it's definitely not number 1, because I got something over it. And then on the other 2,
this ain't one gotta stay songs.
What fucking criteria is this?
This ain't one gotta stay songs, bro. What kind of this is an album? This whole ass album.
There's one song I like better than this. Therefore, the entire album's like 4.
That's the whole point.
Whole album's out of here, y'all.
That's the whole point. Like, one, all these albums are great. They're amazing. The problem with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is All the Lights is brilliant, and I got brilliant songs on the other one. Let's think about the rest of the album. Out of what? How many tracks are on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy? Like,
they all great. 4 slappers, and there's
11, I think.
11.
There's like
Dark Fantasy.
Probably the least amount of the least amount of songs on there. Right?
Gorgeous.
The least amount of songs. I think I run back 3 or 4 after that. When the other 3. They run back consistently. Like if Gorgeous comes on, if a lot of other tracks come on, I'm like, do I want to listen to this right now? It's a dope track, but I don't know if I want to listen to it. I don't really want to. But
always listen to it.
Okay, I can see the argument. I think this is ridiculous at 4, but I can see the argument.
Like, so if I'm keeping something, that I have been since it's come out. I have kept at least half or more of that album on my phone. And every single other track, basically the way it goes for me, the higher the ranking, the more songs on the phone I have kept and wanted to listen to every time it runs back. Not only because, of course, when you first have it, it's brilliant. But then think about a year later, a song comes on, and I'm like,
not trying to
Runaway comes on. I don't want to hear Runaway right now.
Runaway.
I don't go. Get out of here. I don't want to listen to whatever that track was. I don't even remember the names of the tracks because I don't listen to them. So yeah. Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Ferris, I'm sorry, fam. It is cruel and unusual. My beautiful.
I gotta do a show after this shit. This is what I'm hearing.
This is a cruel and unusual ranking.
Yes. You can tell Matt. You can tell Matt what I did, and I'll just me and Easy did, and I'll just go at y'all in y'all comments.
The first hour spin from the reels is gonna be us listening to Twisted Fantasy the whole time.
And it would be a brilliant
out of spite.
It would be a brilliant backtrack. But I won't listen to it again after that.
Oh my God.
From there, we're gonna go on to Senor Chance. Chance, what is your number 4?
Yeah, the 4 was like 3 and 4 were interchangeable for me, but I think I ultimately landed with Late Registration.
Halfway, take a few steps back to go.
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers.
Okay, look, I like Late Registration.
You really gonna do that after what you just picked?
Yes, I am.
No. Ro, you don't get to speak. You do not get to speak right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
you put my fantasy as number 4. You gotta go.
I get to choose when and where I like to speak and how I like to speak. So I got control, fam. Easy, you good right now. But no,
let's go.
Give me your time.
You trying to silence me? That's how we're gonna do this?
I'm gonna let you finish, man. I'll let you finish. Go ahead, Chance.
So, look, I think this one for me ultimately lands with the same reasoning that you have for graduation, except mine's yours totally off base, and mine's like only a little off base. In that it has a couple tracks that it has a couple tracks that I cycle through constantly. Like the main 2 being, of course, Gold Digger. That's the really big one off of this album. Yeah. Love that song. And Touch the Sky. I have a really soft off work, also like a huge Live Fiasco fan.
Yes.
But yeah, I've only listened through this whole album like a handful of times. Like I could probably count on one hand the amount of time I listened to this whole album. Whereas with all the other ones, I listened to maybe double. But it's a great album. I love Late Registration, but it's of these 4, this is probably my least favorite.
Does anybody else have Late Registration as their number 4?
Nope.
Good man, Chris.
Okay. So I mean, Aaron started off the conversation with exactly why I have this at 4. This is like my 1D. I love Late Registration. I do. I really, really do. There's some jams off this thing. I Heard Him Say, still one of the best opening tracks that Kanye has, right? Yeah. Like, and then like the threesome that is Heard Him Say, Touch the Sky, Gold Digger, back to back to back is legendary. It's great. It's really, really good.
The threesome.
But with all that being said, my one biggest knock is that Amaru was talking about some like just the fantasy has some forgettable tracks. Well, shit. So does Late Registration. If we're being frank,
I will correct you.
Frank as fuck today. Frank as fuck Mondays.
Not necessarily forgettable, just not replayable. I remember him. I just want to listen to him.
Like, yeah, sure, yeah, totally.
That might be worse.
Look, like when this album came out, 2005. In 2005. Skits were the shit. Kanye introduced the world to like how cool skits can be, how funny skits can be. In 2021, I'm skipping them skits like it's nobody's business. Like
better than some of the tracks on Back to the Fantasy.
Like, bro, we ain't got it. Like, they're funny.
We're not gonna do this.
Yeah, I'm doing that. Hold that.
Profile Broke is an anthem, fam.
One time.
We ain't got it.
The one time is cool, but like I love this album, and as I'm listening to it through. It's like I bet, like I can, bro. We can do that later. Like I just think the other 3 albums have, like the quality of song is a little bit better. Like the songs are more iconic in my eyes, especially as we go. Even with the album that came out before this with Dropout, right? Like there's some iconic ass songs in all these albums. It's just Registration is the least iconic of the 4, and that's why I put it as my 4.
Oh, you're blacked out.
Whew, man, this is okay. Well, we're just gonna keep it moving here. I don't know what y'all talking about, but we'll just keep it moving. A little recap. Me and Easy have My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy at number 4.
Get out of here.
Because we know what we're talking about. Dom and Aaron have Graduation at number 4, and Chance and Chris don't like good music. They love they like it.
You obviously did not hear a single word I just said, and that is some bad shit.
Good music.
You said the album, you just tuned out.
They just pick late registration.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is why we're basically twins, even though we're 4 years apart.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Nah.
I like registration.
Yeah. Anyway,
yo, Tony in the chat. Look at the other track list for the albums. Look at the other track list. Oh my god.
Yeah,
anyway,
Diamonds is classic.
Throw your diamonds in the sky.
Classic. We're gonna move it on.
And the remix. And don't forget the remix.
We're gonna go to our number 3s, and my man Dom. Dom, can you let us know, please? What's your number 3?
As number 3, basically for the same reason as my man had it at number 4. It was like it's great, you know. I love all the songs. I can play them back and forth and back, but it's just not better than my 1 and 2. That's all. That's really what it is. Simple as that.
About registration?
Late registration is my number 3.
Okay. Yeah.
So continuing on with the bullshit then. That's what we're doing.
No.
What bullshit?
Hold on.
Like,
I'm gonna let you
Albums are
finish.
regressing as they go on.
I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah, yo, like I don't understand what the hate is, dude. Like these albums are that damn good. These are some of the pillars of hip hop from 2000 to 2010, and y'all here shitting on me like, oh, cause you can't get related registration. Like, what the hell? Like, what are you talking about? Like, we'll get to the 3s, but damn, like, I'm sorry.
No, great.
Be sorry.
It's hard.
I can't wait to hear you talk about it. I cannot wait to hear you talk about it. I can't wait.
But
I can't wait.
Don't drop My Beautiful Dark Fantasy. That's the only disrespect.
Yeah. Does anybody else have late registration as their number 3?
It's a negative Ghost Rider.
All right. So with that, we don't move it. Keep it moving forward. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna talk about my number 3 and where I have it. And my number 3, as I had mentioned before, is it just depends on a combination of replayability is really big in terms of these lists for me. Do I go back to it? But I will say, even though I have this at number 3, this is probably the weakest album of the 4. I just happen to listen to more songs than I do my Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. And with that, Dom's right. It is Graduation.
Yes, let's go.
I know.
Graduation is number 3. Because look, as I said, there are slightly more replayable songs here. Good Life is amazing. You want to talk about songs as iconic and great as All of the Lights? Flashing Lights is just
Flashing Lights great though. That's great. That's great.
It's great.
You have me at Flashing Lights.
Also have Can't Tell Me Nothing, which is an
right.
anthem. The 2 of those together,
Man.
I will take. I will take and listen to over All of the Lights. However, the other 2 albums just have a combination of both iconic, classic, and replayability. Just back to back. Way more songs. So for me, Graduation's gotta be number 3. And I will run this back. It was my easy number 3 because my number 4 was also an easy number 4 for me. So does anybody else have Graduation at number 3?
Yes, sir.
Hey!
Oh my god!
I mean, you already know.
Oh my god!
What the hell? Please
continue. Proceed.
Cause on top of what you said, same thing. 3 or 4 could have been interchangeable. If I have to go through your album and I can skip, and I'm skipping songs because it's just like, all right, cool. Albums don't flow. I'm not really trying to listen to this. Whatever. They both had about 4 or 5 bangers on both of them. Graduation was more closer to, late registration and college dropout. Dark Fantasy was just off on its own shit. So so Graduation was definitely, it just had the least amount of songs next to next to Dark Twisted Fantasy. They could have been interchangeable, but I kept the timeline consistent. So yeah, Graduation was number 3.
All right. Anybody else? Or y'all think we crazy?
No argument here.
I'll reserve my judgment till
you told me. You told me.
Okay. Well,
right, Tammy.
Well, Chris, you don't get to reserve your judgment much too longer because you, sir, get to go on about your number 3. What did you have as your number 3?
Okay, look. So I'm gonna catch some shit. I already know.
Don't do it.
And there's already this like
don't
I don't
do
know
it.
if I'm the youngest person here. I don't know if I am or not. Like I'm 23 years old, and I think that says a lot about all of our picks.
Oh,
okay,
shit.
okay, cool.
Your whole opinion is invalid.
So
he said 23. I'm 10 years old.
With that being said, my number 3 is the College Dropout.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
let me speak.
He was in middle school. No.
College Dropout. When
how do you
he was in elementary school when this came out. That's why. I get it.
I didn't start listening to Kanye until I was older anyway. So I wasn't 7 years old out here bumping Jesus Walk. Right?
Coming out the womb.
Wait. You can't do that because some of us were 7 years old, bumping, stop, drop, and open up shop. We can do that at that age. Rest in peace to the God. But anyway, I had to throw that in there. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
You're fine.
He probably
to me,
mom probably got pregnant to all down.
He got pregnant to College Dropout.
My thoughts on College Dropout are sort of the same as Late Registration. Like some of Kanye's most iconic songs come from this album. I cannot lie. Like Jesus Walks, Through the Wire, and to me, Slow Jams, although it was shared with Twista. Like those are some of the those songs are talk about repeat value. Like I bumped Jesus Walks.
Yeah, how you have it at number 3?
Why do I have it as number 3? Again, the like I know like if I listen to an album through because I'm 12 and like the it's top heavy to me. The album is top heavy in my opinion, and the skips don't age well to me. I'm not the biggest fan of like the disparity of songs. Like the songs are really damn good. Like they overshadow everything else, and that's something I take into account when I look back at the College Dropout. Don't get me wrong, I love Late Registration. I love the College Dropout. Just I thought that the other 2 albums in question were a little bit superior to this one for reasons I'll get into. But damn it, like when Amaru told me what the albums we were talking about or the topic at hand, I thought to myself, "Holy shit, I'm gonna get shit."
You gotta go buy CDs.
I had the CDs, motherfucker. Like I already got them.
Nah,
like
he couldn't buy no CDs, man.
So like that's why I have Dropout at 3.
iPod.
Like that's what. No, I didn't even have an iPod. I had to go buy the CDs. My mom wasn't trying to pony up $100 for an iPod. I had to go buy fucking CDs for $10, $20.
My man was a kindergarten dropout.
So what I will give you,
I'm not letting that go, man.
What I will give you is one song out of Kanye's discography of these 4 albums that I think is probably the least replayable and I like less than Big Brother is Last Call. Because I Last Call is too long.
I love Last Call.
But the fact
is it because of the duration of the song?
I got sick of it, man. I got sick of it even the beginning.
It overstays its welcome. That song overstays.
Damn right.
The fact that you said it was top heavy, and you got 2 words.
The whole second half of the album, you can play the whole shit.
I think, dude, Through the Wire it overshadows everything in the back half. It overshadows everything in the back half.
Anyway, before moving on, I think Chance and Aaron, you're the last 2. Did y'all have College Dropout, or are you about to make other people mad?
No, I did College Dropout at 3.
So y'all just making us mad. Go on ahead.
Let's go, Chance. What's up?
It's funny that you make the kindergarten dropout joke because I was technically in pre-K when this album came out. But
oh my god!
So yeah, based on my age, it's no secret that I obviously listened to all of these albums well after they came out. And again, this is 1A, 1B, 1C situation.
Slow jam.
To my taste, one of the reasons this falls lower is because in terms of listening to a whole album, I'm not the biggest fan of skits, and this has like 7 or 8 of them on it. So it's constantly stopping the music to put in a skit, and it just, for me, my taste, it doesn't work. This does have some of the all-time greats on it. I mean, he already said it, but All Falls Down, Jesus Walks Through the Wire, some of the best songs he's ever made. But it's as an album, not by songs. And so for my taste, if I'm constantly having to hit skip to go through the skits and get to the next song, then it hurts the flow of the album for me. And that's why it does fall as low as it does. But there's no denying that this album is that great an album. There's a reason he blew up from this.
It's the most Kanye West thing to overdo his first album. Like, what else is the most Kanye West?
This feels like a microcosm for like what we get.
But if you wasn't outside when this album was on, you wouldn't understand. Like the skits were part of pop culture as well too. You'd be at school, everybody was quoting everything, bro.
Yeah, but dude, that was 2004. I'm talking about 2021, bro. That was 17 years ago.
We was in high school in 2004, bro.
If you were potty trained,
hold on. I have something to say.
If you were potty trained,
you guys went diapers.
I have something to say.
He was like,
Amaru, you're the last person to be complaining. You're the one that created this hellscape of a show. Don't be complaining about where we put it.
Yeah, hard for our generation. Yeah. I will say before Chance goes, look, the skits, yes, there are a lot of them, but can't forget that I grew up in albums that had fire skits, and those two
albums, time capsule. It's a time capsule of what hip hop was.
Exactly. Probably the last 2 albums that had the best skits ever.
You can't give me shit for not listening to the album in 2004. That's not what the hell we're talking about.
And listen. In what is the whitest sentence I will say on this show, as someone who is a huge Eminem fan, I skip his skits too. So it's just a general thing. It's a general thing. All right.
What? I've never listened to one Eminem skit. I didn't even know.
I skipped that shit too.
You're not missing much. You're really not missing anything.
I didn't know Eminem did skits.
Oh yeah, he did. I will have to say, I can't go forward without mentioning this.
I just said that.
I know skits are fire is when you can do dozens off of them, and there's not. I don't know how many times that man over there, Easy, made fun of my ass about those degrees.
That's right.
Those degree skits were kind of the bane of my existence for a while because that motherfucker over there. And when they can do something like that, it's But Chance, why do you have College Dropout at number 3?
I think this is a great start for Kanye, especially like an artist like him. I think that there's a great job combining. It's a great combination of essentially party tracks versus against an introspective look at a person's psyche. However, I do think that it does feel at points it can feel a little bit like a first effort, which isn't a bad thing. But I do think that just from a production standpoint, the other 2 albums that I have above this are more well put together. And the College Dropout, I love the College Dropout, but I think that the other 2 are just technically better albums.
All right, well let's just get into it. Before we do, just a quick recap. Let me get this out of the way. So many buttons. So me and Easy, apparently we went to high school together because we have late registration in College Dropout. Chance and Chris might be, I believe they are the youngest here. That's why they have My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and Graduation. I know Dom is my age, but he has College Dropout and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and Aaron has late registration and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. So we gonna get into it now. The numbers roll out this way. 4 of y'all have My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. 1 of y'all have late registration.
Let me guess.
It's literally the 4 that hasn't struck it yet.
So here's the deal. Usually when you're on your island, you get to go first. But 2 people are on the island, leaving us with 3 groups. So because of that, we just gonna go at it. And I'm gonna let y'all know that late registration has some of the best songs versus tracks album put together ever. Period. So I'm gonna go back to my argument about My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I thought I had to argue all of the lights. Graduation has flashing lights and can't tell me nothing, so all of the lights whatever. College Dropout has All Falls Down, which I also consider on the same page as All of the Lights. But probably what I figure is one of the most underrated songs. One of the most underrated songs Kanye has ever done is Bring Me Down with Brandy. And the first time I ever heard Kanye rap, there's always be haters, that's the way it is. Hated niggas made hated bitches and have hated kids. I had to pause it, stop, and say, did he just say that? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to finish off with this. Paul Wall has the second best verse of all time. Ever.
Oh, yeah.
Ever. I am a Nas stan. I have Nas over everything. And I think We Major is actually not even one of the best songs on there. Paul Wall's verse on Drive Slow is fucking immaculate.
Oh, baby. That's my favorite.
You would call Paul Wall out of any track of this album.
Dude,
you never know, baby.
You can say the same shit over and over again.
Hey,
you can say the same shit over and over in so many different ways and just make it sound so great as Paul Wall does. I have Late Registration. I think Bring Me Down is one of his best songs ever that doesn't get that much love. Roses is fucking beautiful.
That's my favorite.
Gold Digger is a great track, is a great radio track. And Diamonds from Sierra Leone with Jay-Z is just that album front to fucking back has nothing but better.
That's a great album. That's great.
Period. So that's why I have Late Registration.
Number one. That's good.
It's my number. It's my number 2. So it's not much less wrong.
We just go at it. Just go at it now.
Okay. Look. So I mean, I don't want to just bring up this fancy knocks. I know there's foursome here that's right there with Twisted Fantasy. But look, to me, Twisted Fantasy it's more than just the music. It's what Kanye did during that album cycle or the lack thereof. Like what Kanye did, he somehow had an apology tour and a victory lap at the same time with this album right here, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Like this album, he didn't tour it. He had one show at Coachella. That's the only time he performed songs off this album during that cycle. And he elevated
to hear him again.
What are you talking about? Like people, of course, people wanted to hear him. Did he ruin his public image? 1,000%. But he made this album because of that.
Apparently not to the kids.
Look, if anything, the kids are the ones listening to it. You're out there still bumping the classics. So, like, what I'm trying to say is this album, like, yes, All the Lights is great. The interlude before All the Lights is also gorgeous.
It's also great. That. All right.
Like you said, freaking gorgeous. Dark Fantasy.
What about
Monster? Nicki Minaj. He made a career off that verse. Devil in the New Dress has one of the best verses with Rick Ross, bro.
What's up?
Let's go,
baby.
Yo, I know it's feature heavy. There's a lot of features on it, and yes, like there's a lot. It's Kanye's like creation, Kanye's imagination, just regurgitated onto an album. But my God, this is the most Kanye album that he's ever released because it's one victory lap while also commentating on like pop culture and the media and talking about how SNL, the whole cast kisses ass like that. Like what kind of shit is this? But it's good. And Power, I forgot who mentioned it earlier. Like Power is an anthem. I could go to war with Power in my headphones. Like that's some real shit.
No one should have all this power, man. Hey, don't get us started on this.
Yeah, I would argue this is not only Kanye's best album, but I argue it's one of the best albums of the past, like 10, 15 years. I think that of all of his albums, this is the one where he takes, like, it feels like he's taking everything he's learned throughout his career and just putting it all together, while mixing it with different, like, classical techniques, modern techniques, techno, musical techniques. I feel like technically, this is easily his best album. I think every song on this is amazing. It feels like, like you said, commentating on just the state of the world, commentating on the media, and also just like really commentating on himself. Like, I always think of the verse on the one line in Runaway where like you put it with my shit just way too long, and that was before we all started hating Kanye. publicly. So like, in a way where it's kind of ahead of its time, but like I feel like his comment, he's like, yeah, I know I've been an asshole. This is basically me trying to, make sense, but like musically makes sense of all of it. And with that, he put together like Dom said, this album is a masterpiece. It's his opus.
It is.
And if there's any album of Kanye is going to stand test time, like just as a complete project,
this is the one, right?
It's gonna be this.
And don't get me started on the music video that he put out along with the album.
The Williams one.
The
movie's amazing.
The movie's great. That shit was. That plus that together is why it's the best album to me. Number one.
I don't disagree.
I can see it. I can listen to it. I can do anything with both of these at my disposal.
That I don't agree with. Here's my problem. Not problem, because I love this album. I know My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is his best album. It can be argued in top 10. Because this ain't about best. I love you. This is about what you get to keep. Here's my question for you four. Here's my question for you four. You want to get introspective. You want to get brilliant. You want to get like a masterpiece of music or in lyrics. You can do that with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. You could do that at times of graduation. You could do that with College Dropout. And I will repeat, if you ever wanted to ever be anything, there will always be somebody that'll shoot down any dream. There'll always be haters. That's the way it is. Hated niggas, marry hater bitches, and have hated kids. You can do that with late registration. But then you can also get gully with late registration. You can also bump late registration. Then you can also drive around in your car with late registration. You can also do that with College Dropout. And that's why those were mine 1 and 2, because I was like, which one do I listen to more? Because they both have the same vibe where you can do anything with them. I am not going to a club or just chilling or feeling. I am not trying to hang out with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy in the background.
Ever.
I ain't trying to feel that way.
I do. That's my best friend.
Man,
No.
Me and my dirt.
Do you know how many songs
friend.
I've driven to or hung out to, like more than I've hung out with this song? Like I understand, like it's not an album, like it's not like an easy listen, but it's a worthwhile listen. Like you can't deny this is his best album. Like
it is his best album.
It has rewatchability, like re-listenability. Fuck that. Just like as a product, like as what it is, like it's clearly his best.
Clearly, look, I'm not disputing that. I'm just disputing after Monster and after Power and maybe after after all of the lights.
There ain't much
Dark Fantasy, though.
I'm not listening to Blame Game
with Dark Fantasy.
I'm not listening to Blame Game when I'm with my boys. That's never happening.
I ain't listening to Roses when I'm with my boys. You about to start crying?
Slow jam.
Like, that's
Yeah, I
real
might
shit.
listen to that.
Like, what?
I listen. I used to listen to Rick Sherman with my boys. I'm not arguing that's better than this.
But you're listening to crack music. You're listening to Drive Slow. You're listening to We Major. You're listening to Gone. You're listening to Celebration. You're listening to Diamonds.
Look, Amaru,
Kanye.
Amaru, like I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I'm gonna let you finish. But like Runaway, like to me, Runaway. I think it's why I have it here because Runaway, undisputedly, is my favorite song of all time. I remember vividly hearing that song for the first time. Vividly. Like I can pop that song on at any point. What? Happy, sad, mad, shitty. Like I could be in any type of mood. Put on Runaway, and it'll like bring me back down to earth. People like to shit on that 4 minutes of auto tune. I think it's some of the most beautiful shit Kanye's ever done. Like I think that whole song, that whole 8 minutes and 4 seconds or whatever the hell it is gorgeous. And
yeah, I also think it's like
Gorgeous is also another great song.
I don't listen to the 4-minute version. Like anytime I listen to Runaway, I have to listen to the full thing. Like
damn right.
I've listened to the shorter version. It's fine, but like you feel like you're getting the complete experience with the whole song.
Right.
And it's amazing when you have a song that's like almost 9 minutes that you opt for that instead of the 4-minute one.
Like it speaks volumes not only to Kanye's creativity, because that song was his apology. He felt so bad after the whole Taylor Swift thing that he released that whole ass song, and he went back to the VMAs and he did that whole shit. And
They do
that
Runaway.
Push, and I forget who mentioned it, but that
Dope.
Pusha T verse is good too.
Even Pusha T on that shit was fire.
It's Push.
I
Push
know
don't
who
do
was
nothing bad. Pusha never
Right,
does
he don't.
anything bad.
He don't.
Right.
That's when it comes
He
to
did
good
Drake
music.
pretty bad. He did Drake pretty
He
bad.
did
that
Drake
one
pretty
time.
bad.
He
But-
did Drake pretty bad. Yeah.
He
Hey,
is
Aaron,
bad,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
buddy.
let you speak, but because just because this came up and my nephew Dean just called Easy Hamilton, I'm gonna let Easy just go with that. Easy, why'd you pick College Dropout? And Aaron, why'd you pick My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy over everything?
I'll let you go first. Go ahead. We talked about. We'll come back to it. Go ahead and go first.
All right. So, I think how y'all feel about my Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, because it's more recent and so polished that's why it's so impactful to maybe y'all. I could be right, be wrong. But when College Dropout dropped, that was just like, it changed the game. It changed, like, it was, everybody was playing it, not just the bangers. Like, we were in high school. It's the whole damn album being bumped. It's just iconic, impactful, legendary. It has what? How many tracks? Whatever. All the tracks slap. You can play it front to back. You said it was top heavy. I don't think so. I don't think so at all, really. But just that being his debut album, and not only is that one of his best albums, College Dropout is arguably one of the best albums of all time. Period. So just from that aspect of it, like there's not really a lot of albums that can even hold a candle to his, and that's his debut. Like how you're saying, he's getting better, more creative, and more polished as his albums are going on. But just the content of the album, the skits, the music from top to bottom, you could replay it. Everything was being played everywhere. So for Kanye to come out with something like that, and that being his first project, and even though that's a Midwest East Coast artist, like it was getting mad burn on the West. We were playing it nonstop, top to bottom, one of the greatest albums of all time. Easy decision, number one of the greatest, period.
Yep. Aaron, we're gonna keep it moving from there. Give us your final thoughts. Why did you have My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy? Wrap up what you think of this episode, sir.
Yeah. So everything that the other three, wrong side. Everything that the other three said, I stand by. They're all correct. For me personally, I'm a little bit different when I listen to music, and this is music of all kinds. One of the things that I love is I love features and I love collaboration. I love hearing how different artists work together. I don't know if it got brought up, but one of my personal favorites, I don't know if it is my favorite, but one of my personal favorites off this album is So Appalled, because it's four great rappers coming together and they're all spitting really great verses. And to me, not only does it have two of, in my opinion, Kanye's best solo tracks in Power and Hell of a Life, but then you have that entire middle section where it's All of the Lights, Monster, So Appalled, Devil in a Red Dress, Runaway, just, great stuff from Kanye mixed with great production, mixed with feature after feature after feature. This blew Pusha up, this blew Sci-Hi up temporarily. He's kind of behind the scenes now. This blew Nicki up. This album did so much for more than just Kanye himself. And I think that speaks to the quality of the album. Jay-Z, he had nothing to prove at this point. He still came in with two great verses. And so for me, that's why it stands to me, is as somebody who loves hearing collaboration in music, I love that this album puts together so many great combinations of artists that all make great music together. So that to me specifically is why immediately was my number one, because for that reason, I do listen to a lot of the songs on this album again. Like the subject matter in So Appalled is not something you'd listen to over and over again naturally, but I think the beat's good enough, and I think the rapping, the flows, all of it's good enough for me that I just enjoy hearing the collaboration, that I do listen to it more than probably most people would. So that's why specifically to me, I put it at number one immediately, and the rest, it was just an internal fight the rest of the way to figure it out.
Dom, build off of that. So let us know your final thoughts, sir. Let them know what you think. And you are currently muted.
I go. Hey, what's up, man? Put it like this: if College Dropout was Iron Man, because it's the first one that started everything off, and it's still considered one of the greatest movies and one of the greatest Kanye albums. But now I'm talking about the MCU. not Blade. I love Blade. Great movie. No disrespect. And My Beautiful is the end game. You know, it did it. It's the end game. You know, it puts everything together. It has all the features, all the best stuff. It's his best stuff. It's his best album. You know? That's why, you know, end game features.
I'm gonna continue this metaphor. I'm gonna just keep it moving.
All right.
Oh boy.
You say that's Endgame. You say that Iron Man started it off, but the best MCU film, the best MCU film is the one that has everything put together. It has the grandness. It has the grandness and the polish, but it also has that feel of one of the first, and it just blends everything together. And that's Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier is the best of all of that. And Winter Soldier is the best MCU film. We can talk about that later.
I mean, yes, but
I love it.
No.
Yes, but your comparison's not right.
Late registration, it takes the best of College Dropout, being the one out the gate, the bangers from front and back, being able to be introspective, being able to be party, being able to be lyrically amazing, being able to put features that are on par, if not better. Somehow a Nas feature and a Nas song, which is amazing, is not even in the top half of your album, meaning that's crazy. You got a Common song that ain't even got Kanye on it, and that's a banger. Addiction is the beat on Addiction is absolutely amazing. And I will say it again, and I will say it again and again and again. You talked about Ross having a great feature. Ross talks about the same thing over and over again. He does fine, but it never sounds different. Paul Wall says the same shit in totally different ways, and it is just the metaphors he used. It is the second best verse of all time, behind Lupe's "Mean and Vicious" verse 2. If you don't know that song, listen to Lupe "Mean and Vicious" verse 2. Absolutely amazing. But you can do everything with Late Registration. It takes the hunger of coming out first, College Dropout, with the polish of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and it's the perfect mix of both. That's why Late Registration to me is not his best album, but a very close one to College Dropout's 1B of the one I would keep because it has everything it needs. And that's my thoughts on that. But we'll drop it down to Chris. Chris, why do you give us your thoughts about all of this?
So, from what I gather, this whole thing, age definitely plays a part into how we rank our albums and how much time we got to spend with these projects. Like, I was just becoming the Kanye super fan I am right when Twisted Fantasy came out, hence why I love it so much. Maybe that's why that's one I gotta keep. But the one album I didn't really get to talk about was Graduation. I did have it at my 2. Graduation, like you guys mentioned, like Flashing Lights, Good Life, Can't Tell Me Nothing. I do think Stronger is a really fun song, especially now that Daft Punk don't make music no more. We gotta appreciate that song even more in hindsight. Good Morning is his best intro track by far. I think like Good Morning sets the pace for the rest of the record. And for all of Kanye's albums, like you can look at Kanye's discography from like Dropout all the way to, I would even say Pablo or Yeezus. Like what Kanye was doing was what hip hop sounded like at the time, or what they wanted to sound like at the time. Like Dropout was Kanye feeding off of his mentors and making one of the best hip hop records of that time. Same thing with the follow up with Late Registration. Then Graduation. This is when Kanye burst into the mainstream. He had the hits, but I feel like Kanye was like a pop star at this point. Like my man was all over the place. He's out here challenging Curtis, and then going platinum in a week. You know what I mean? Like that. Like that's
call him Curtis.
Right. It's like, well, I think
Curtis.
Right. I think the album was called Curtis, if I'm not mistaken. But like 50 challenged his ass, and then I see that comment that just popped up in private chat. I could not disagree more. But I think that Kanye's discography almost embodies what hip hop sounds like at the time. And Graduation was really his like, oh yeah, I'm a pop star now, and I'm gonna be the biggest star on the planet. I don't care who you are, what kind of music you're making, I'm the guy. And Kanye did that. And also, Homecoming hits different. I may not be from Chicago, but I'm right there from Northwest Indiana. Homecoming hits different. So I I love all 4 of these projects. I think they're all great in their own way. I just catch myself bumping Twisted Fantasy and Graduation more. And if 3 of these albums were erased from time right now, Twisted Fantasy would be the one I would be most hurt by. So I think Twisted Fantasy is the one that has to stay, in my opinion.
Can I just suggest something? Can we just keep all 4 of these and dump Yeezus, Pablo, and Ye instead?
I'm with that.
I'll live with that.
And you just
sure.
Unfortunately,
that's not how this works. That's not how.
We gotta keep Kitsy Ghost though. We gotta keep Kitsy Ghost.
Can we just dump everything after Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy?
No, Watch the Throne is good. Keep Watch the Throne.
Oh, okay, keep that one. But
he
doesn't have sole ownership of that one, so I wasn't counting it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was totally Jay-Z featuring Kanye West.
Exactly.
It was.
Chance, finish us off, sir. Let us know your final thoughts. Why you had Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy? This list in general.
So yeah, I think that with these 4, I think you can look at them thematically. Like the titles, like really thematically, kind of tell you what they are. Like College Dropout is basically like he's a nobody. He's nothing. So he's got to prove that he's somebody. Late Registration, it's his like, hey, like this wasn't a fluke. I'm still here. Graduation, was having a good chat talk about. It's my 2. I feel like at the time it was most grandiose. I like the idea of it being like something bigger, something, like, hey, like if you still don't know who I am, this is where I'm at. This is his kind of victory lap for these first 2 albums. Whereas you look at My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, I feel like that's kind of keeping the theme of like education. This is him like going back to his graduation. It's showing like, hey, you know what? If I know I've messed up in the past, but this is the reason why I'm still great, and this is the reason why I'm better than I was before. I think that aside from Ace and Heartbreak, which I don't know why people hate that album, I love that album. I think this is his most personal album to date.
Damn right.
But aside from that, I think this is his most personal album. I think that he puts the most, like, of all the albums we're talking about, this one has the most soul of all of them because it gave Kanye a chance to grow as a person and as a musician. And I think that everything in his career is reflected in this one album. So if I'm keeping one, I think that it has to be this. Like, I think it's a masterpiece of modern music, and I think it's easily his best album.
Truthfully, very truthfully, you can't really go wrong with any of these 4 picks. Except apparently Graduation, because none of us kept it.
Yeah, I guess Graduation got the real shot because nobody.
But I kept Late Registration, and Easy kept College Dropout. We were shooting in the gym with those 2 bumping on the speakers.
That we were.
And then Chance, Chris, Dom, and Aaron all picked My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which when I made this list, I figured most people would. So when I saw Easy did College Dropout, I was like, thank you. I'm not alone in not picking this. And also, I'm not alone in having it number 4. So thank you. That's why you're my boy.
Yes, sir.
With that, I'm going to go on to our clue for the next episode. And what we're going to do, if you want to get nuts, let's get nuts.
Oh, God.
A lot of actors.
Wait a minute.
A lot of actors can get nuts. Some of them get nuts with their face on,
most nuts?
On or off. Some of them get nuts. They're naturally born, just nuts, eating Twinkies all the time. And then others are just absolutely nuts to the point where they're walking around seeing dead people. Or wait, or is he the one? Is he the one who's dead? I don't remember, but I know I'm knocking Chance out with this riddle, and I'm loving it. For Chance, for Easy, for Aaron, for Dom, and for Chris, we are out of here.
Y'all be
What?
easy. Appreciate you, my brother.
Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.